the lumber room, Saki. Critical discussion. The children were to be driven as a special treat to the sands at Jagborough. Nicholas was not to be of the party. He was in disgrace. Only that morning he had refused to eat his wholesome bread and milk on seemingly frivolous ground that there was a frog in it. Now, this is how the story begins. Begins with the frog incident. The children means children of Nicholas' house. There are 4 children. Nicholas' brother, Nicholas' cousin brother or Bobby or boy cousin, and Nicholas' cousin sister, girl cousin. Altogether 4. Right. Now, these children means Nicholas' brother, boy cousin, and girl cousin. These children were to be taken as a special treatment to the sands at Jagborough. Sands at Jagborough means Jagborough Beach. Now we know the story. Now aunt arranges this Jagborough picnic as a punishment for Nicholas. The story begins in the middle. Why? Nicholas was not to be of the party. Nicholas is not included in this picnic party. Party means a picnic party. Group. Party simply means group. In this picnic group, Nicholas is not a member. And other 3 children are going there. Because they are good children. He was in disgrace. What is the reason? Nicholas is in disgrace. In disgrace means in very bad character. Nicholas is a bad character today. Disrespectful situation. He's a bad boy today, simply. Therefore, other children are taken to Jagborough Beach and Nicholas has to stay at home. This is how this aunt punishes children. Mental punishments, not physical punishments. She rewards the good children by punishing the bad children. Psychological. Only that morning, what is the reason for this punishment? Only that morning, he had refused, Nicholas had rejected to eat his wholesome bread and milk. Nicholas rejects to have wholesome bread and milk. That is breakfast. Wholesome, well-balanced diet. Wholesome means well-balanced. Note down the meaning. Nicholas rejects wholesome, well-balanced diet or breakfast, rejecting on the frivolous ground. Frivolous means useless or meaningless. Only meaningless situation or complaint, that ground means a complaint or situation or context, that there was a frog in it. Nicholas says, I don't want your breakfast, aunt, because there is a frog. Now, That is how the story begins. With the past action. Even in the second paragraph, that past action is repeated. Old and wiser and better people, please underline. Old and wiser and better people. Who are these? Elders. Because elders believe they are older, they are matured, they are wiser, wise, and they are also good, better than children. The elders think so. They think children are not matured, they are not wise, and they are not better. But elders are matured, wiser, and better. That is the difference between children and elders. And these proud elders, they are very proud about it. Had told Nicholas that there could not possibly be a frog in his bread and milk. Now they argue. Elders and Nicholas, they are in conflict. What is the conflict? Argument. Nicholas says there is a frog. Better people say, no, there is no frog. There isn't a frog. Nicholas says, yes. These elders say, no. Therefore, they say, he was not to talk nonsense. They say, Nicholas is speaking nonsense. Nonsense means meaningless things. Nonsense. Right? But Nicholas is sure about the frog. Why? Because he puts it there secretly. We know the story. He is well prepared, well planned to win this argument. He continued. Nicholas went on. Continued means went on. Nevertheless, although to talk, nevertheless means but though, to talk, to speak, what seemed this various nonsense, this clear meaningless thing, various means clear. This clear meaningless thing. Now Nicholas is talking about this various nonsense. What is various nonsense? No frog in bread and milk. That is the meaning. Now Nicholas goes on talking about this no frog in bread and milk, various nonsense. And he described, explained. He explained with much detail, much information, description. What is the description? The coloration and markings of the frogs. Color and markings, special marks. Now Nicholas knows that the frog is that color. The frog had those marks, body marks. He has these facts in his hand. Therefore, he says, no, this is not a nonsense. There is a green frog. This green frog has yellow patches, big eyes, large feet. He describes because he saw the frog. He is the man who put it there. The coloration and markings of the alleged frog. Alleged frog. This frog, that frog. Alleged means that frog. The dramatic part of the incident, the best part of the situation was that there really was a frog. Really there was a frog. in Nicholas' basin of bread and milk. Dramatic part. Now, finally, the elders look into the breakfast ball, Nicholas' breakfast ball, and really they find a frog. Now they'll lose the game argument. Nicholas is the winner. Nicholas wins because he is well prepared for this. Elders are not well prepared. Therefore, they lose. Nicholas is very cunning and tactful. Very cunning and tactful. Right. He had put it himself there. Nicholas put it himself there. Therefore, he knows everything about this frog. So he felt entitled. Felt entitled means had some right. Had some right. Has some right to know something about it. Underline this part. The sin of taking a frog from the garden. Now, elders say Nicholas has killed a frog. Nicholas is a sinful boy. They never talk about Nicholas' winning argument, Nicholas's victory. But they are talking about Nicholas's bad action of killing a frog, sinful action of killing a frog from the garden and putting it into a ball of wholesome bread and milk was enlarged, made bigger. Enlarged means made bigger at great length. The aunt and other elders, they say Nicholas is a sinful boy because he has killed a frog. He is not a good boy because they are ashamed of their defeat. But the fact that stood out clearest in the whole affair, but there is one fact, clear fact. There is one clear thing about this whole affair, whole situation, this incident, as it presented to itself to the mind of Nicholas, as it came to Nicholas' mind, underline that the older and wiser and better people, the old and wise and better people, they have been proven wrong, profoundly, seriously, profoundly means deeply, seriously wrong in matters, in some matters about which they had expressed the utmost assurance. Assurance means belief or sure belief. Now, elders believe, what elders believe are not always true. There are some misjudgments. Sometimes they are wrong in what they say, but they think they are right. They think they are right. නේද? නිතර මේගොල්ලෝ කියනේවා හරි කියලා නේගොල්ලෝ කියන්නේ. වැඩි හිටියෝ. පොඩි උන් කියනවා ඒවා හරි නෑ. අපි කියනේවා තමයි හරි. Because elders believe, they are sure of their judgments. But now Nicholas has proven elders are not always correct. You said, but Nicholas, he does not give up. You said there couldn't possibly be a frog in my bread and milk. There was a frog in my bread and milk. Nicholas enjoys his victory. You said there was no frog in my bread and milk, but there was a frog in my bread and milk. He repeated. He speaks this again and again without stopping, with the insistence of, with the great emphasis of a skilled tactician. Tactician means a tactful person, a clever, tactful person who does not intend, who does not want to shift from, move away from favorable ground, this good situation. Now, situation is good for Nicholas because he is the winner. Elders have been defeated. Right. Now, this is how the story begins with some reference to past action or flashback. Right. Flashback memories. Okay. Now write down. Write down. Next title. Next title. The characters of the short story. The characters of the short story. The characters of the short story. Write down. The aunt. First character, the aunt. Write down. The aunt is an elderly woman an elderly woman who looks after Nicholas and three other children. Right. Go right in. She is one of the major characters. She is one of the major characters of the short story. Second character, Nicholas. Write down. Nicholas is a small child. Nicholas is a small child who lives with his aunt. He is he is a stubborn boy. Stubborn. He is a stubborn boy who is not obedient who is not obedient to his aunt. He is the he is the protagonist. Protagonist. මම මේ වචන කලින් දීලා තියෙනවා. He is the protagonist of the short story. Next paragraph. There are three other children. There are three other children in the same house. They are boy cousin, within bracket Bobby. They are boy cousin, the girl cousin, and Nicholas' brother. But they are only nominal Nominal. Namik. They are only nominal characters. But they are only nominal characters. Right. Write down. Next title, comment. Right. This is the part 1. Part 1, come in, part 1. This is part 1. Write down. The short story begins. The short story begins. The short story begins with. The short story begins with a conflict between. Begins with a conflict. CONFLICT, conflict with begins with a conflict, not with, between Nicholas and his aunt. Nicholas and his aunt about a frog, about a frog in Nicholas's breakfast ball. Nicholas's breakfast ball. And the aunt. And the aunt. Go on writing. What is the last sentence you wrote? Please send me it quickly. Hurry up. What is the last part? And the aunt. Go on writing. And the aunt. And the aunt. Does not believe. Does not believe what Nicholas says. What Nicholas says about the breakfast. For Nicholas' disrespectful behavior. For Nicholas's disrespectful behavior, the aunt punishes him. The aunt punishes him by rewarding, rewarding, by rewarding the other children. By rewarding the other children with a picnic. With the picnic, keeping Nicholas at home. Keeping Nicholas at home. Please quote these words. The children were to be driven as a special treat to the sands at Jagborough. Nicholas was not to be of the party. Nicholas was not to be of the party. Go on writing. Next paragraph. In a flashback, flashback, in a flashback, the second paragraph, in a flashback, the second paragraph reveals, reveals, reveals the frog incident, the frog incident that made a serious conflict, that made a serious conflict between Nicholas and his aunt and other elders, are explained, in detail, are explained in detail, in detail. This conflict between the elders and Nicholas implies, implies, implies many weaknesses of old people and many strengths, strengths, many strengths of children, children, full stop. The elders, the elders are very proud characters or people. Are very proud people who often thinks, who often think, who often think that who often think that they are matured, M-A-T-U-R-E-D, matured, wise, W-I-C, wise, and better than children, better than children. They often behave, they often behave as if they know everything. Full stop. Even about the conflict, even with the conflict, about the frog in breakfast bowl, they firmly believe, Firmly, they firmly believe that they firmly believe that they are correct, and Nicholas is wrong. Please quote these words. Old and wise and better people had told him that there could not possibly be a frog in his bread and milk, and that he was not to talk nonsense. Go on writing. The elders argue. The elders argue with Nicholas. The elders argue with Nicholas without any logical and scientific facts. Without any logical and scientific, scientific, scientific facts in their hands. Scientific facts in their hands. But Nicholas enters the argument. But Nicholas enters the argument with all facts. With all facts. In his hand. Full stop. He confirms his argument. He confirms his argument by presenting the biological facts, by presenting the biological facts about the frog in the breakfast bowl. And finally, Nicholas wins. Nicholas wins when the aunt finds a frog in the breakfast bowl. Full stop. However, Nicholas wins this game. However, Nicholas wins this game in a very cunning way. In a very cunning way. Before this argument, He secretly puts. He secretly puts a frog into his breakfast bowl. But the elders never take Nicholas or never accept Nicholas. But the elders never accept ACCEPT, Nicholas, as a winner. As a winner. But they call him a sinner, SINNER, one who does sinful things, paukare, a sinner. Full stop. But for Nicholas, this is a great victory. But for Nicholas, this is a great victory. Because he has proven, that elders are not always correct. Elders are not always correct in their judgment. JUDGMENT. In their judgments. He is happy about this. He is happy about this. And he proudly enjoys this by repeating his victory several times. By repeating his victory several times to his aunt. Please quote. You said there couldn't possibly be a frog in my bread and milk, but there was a frog in my bread and milk. You said there couldn't possibly be a frog in my bread and milk, but there was a frog in my bread and milk. Right. That is the end of the comment on this part 1. We'll do part 2, this part, in our next session. Right.